All right. I should have done that. That's okay. Thank you. Thank you for the reminder, Anandji. So, as I was saying, we are very happy to see you. Smriti ji from Anadi Foundation is here today. She will share as the first part of this session the detailed program for the next several months. There will be a break in summer because of the number of modules. We do have, uh, you know, 10 plus modules that we have planned as part of this year-long program. And the first set of modules, about 4 or 5 modules, will be done before summer. And then, a lot of people have expressed that, we will be taking a break, they might be traveling, and that's all fine, right? The summer is the only time we all get to travel. So we'll come back and then we'll continue the rest of the modules. But the first part will include some very, very important topics to set the background, and it will lead the progression into the next set of topics will be more natural and ease into those harder topics, especially with the Indic humanities and some research type modules after that. Okay, so with that, I would like to hand this off to Smriti ji. Please take it away, Smriti ji.
Namaste, everyone. Very happy to be interacting with all of you as part of KSI's module on Indian knowledge systems. And very happy to note the interest in the community towards, the Bharatiya Jnana Parampara, as it is being called. And globally, if you see, there is a huge awakening towards these knowledge systems. And not just Indian knowledge systems. When you travel throughout the world, you will find a lot of people very eager to connect back to their roots in terms of the indigenous and traditional knowledge systems. And there is a huge possibility for Indian knowledge systems to show the way to such communities, because, a good part of our knowledge systems has survived this long. The way the Patashalas are still one of the oldest surviving, you can say, educational ecosystem. And in every village, in every town, you would find such learning centers, whether it is the Vedas, whether it is music, or it could be even, the manufacturing of a musical instrument, or even just weaving, right? So you would still find, such learning places in nooks and corners of Bharat. But still, as the larger community, it is of paramount importance that we learn some of these in a systematic manner, because that gives us the strength to protect, preserve, defend, and expand these knowledge systems. A simple example would be in terms of whatever we follow as part of our cooking, right? It could be the masala dabba in our home, or it could be something that we eat on a daily basis. That is a kind of a practice. But then if you have to decode, why do we do what we do? How is it beneficial for me? How is it going to benefit the next generation? How is it going to solve the problems of the future? Then it means that it has to be taken up as a study or research, or as a knowledge system. In fact, there needs to be frameworks, there need to be pedagogical tools and all that. So this is what we will be looking as part of this training program. My name is, my official, of course, document name is Smriti Rekha, and my ashram name is Anantalakshmi, which I got from my grandmother. And my husband Adi Narayanan and I started Anadi Foundation back in Bharat in 2015. We have our ashram near Palani, which is a Kartikeya or Subramanya Swami Sthala. And in the ashram, we run a Gurukulam called Dharma Gurukulam, which is for children aged 10 years and above. And we also have a Hyderabad non-residential learning place called Swadharma Gurukulam, which is for age 6 to 9 years. We also have something called Bala Gurukulam, which is for children aged 2.5 to 5 years. So that way we are trying to integrate the Indian knowledge system across the age groups. And we've also produced good number of books related to Indian knowledge systems. We also work closely with the Ministry of Education here in Bharat trying to see how this can be integrated formally into the curriculum and through various means in terms of textbook content and such things. And many people have been part of our teacher training program, and as KSI has been talking about in the various seminars, if we need the knowledge system to spread, we need more and more people who will talk about it, who will take it to the community in across the expertise spectrum. It could be a beginner, it could be an expert, it could be a scholar. Then we all need to come together and ensure the dissemination so that the younger generation feels proud of having uh, connection to this knowledge system. And even you would see that there is a huge need. We have been talking about it in terms of various KSI seminars. What is the dire need for such a program, and what is the dire need for having the what you can say a systematic approach to learning some of these. So I will just share my screen. I will show the modules that we would be covering. Okay. So this is not to intimidate you, but rather to enthuse you to learn further these knowledge systems. So here we are on February 1, and the initial sessions would be into the introduction to the Bharatiya education system, the larger, the ancient systems, and a more recent approach as well, bringing out the background history, pedagogical and philosophical aspects. So we will be looking at the structure of Indian knowledge systems, a little bit about Professor Dharampal's work, The Beautiful Tree, and the epistemology and pedagogy of IKS, and what are the Upanishads and the various rishis and more modern gurus who have spoken about the Bharatiya education and the potential for it and why we need this in the current society. And all of this will actually, in each module, we would be having some kind of a group discussion and presentation, mainly because we need to understand the pedagogy aspect of it. So at the end of the day, all of us are going to go back to the society and offer it in some way or the other in terms of learning content. Could be some kind of a program that we initiate, or could be an entrepreneurship program. There are multiple things that can come out of this. But then before we go into actually teaching it, we need to understand, one, the content, the second, the pedagogy, right? So a good emphasis will be on the content as well as the pedagogy. So towards the end or in the middle of each module, we will have opportunities for discussing all of us together as a group, as well as some presentations would be there. I hope you're able to see my screen.
Yes, Smriti ji, we can see your screen. Looks like there is a question by Dinesh ji.
Okay, I cannot. Okay, yeah, yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Dinesh ji. Yeah.
Yeah. Namaste.
Namaste.
क्वेश्चन ये था कि मैं यूएस में रहता हूँ, लेकिन मेरा इंग्लिश उतना अच्छा नहीं है.
हाँ.
तो कुछ जो आप बताते हैं वो ऊपर से चला जाता है.
हाँ.
तो ऐसा हो सकता है कि अगर कुछ नहीं समझ में आया तो मतलब हाथ रेस करके आपको पूछ सकूं. नहीं
हाँ.
तो क्या है कि आगे का पूरा कंटेंट शायद कभी-कभी हो सकता है कि वो सब कुछ चला जाएगा.
हाँ, कोई नहीं दिनेश जी, मैं बखूबी हिंदी बोल सकता हूँ. ऐसा करेंगे कि क्लास का जो फ्लो है ना, वो बीच में बिना रोके प्रोबेबली 1 या 2 टॉपिक खत्म होने के बाद क्वेश्चन आंसर के लिए हम समय देंगे आपको, और 2 क्लास के बीच में हम डिस्कशन सेशंस भी रख रहे हैं. तो आपको वहां पे भी आने का मौका मिलेगा हफ्ते में, और आपके सवाल जो भी हैं वो सब हम आंसर कर लेंगे वहां पे.
ऐसे एग्जांपल की एकदम से सिंपल सा, ये जो पेडागोगी, एपिस्टेमोलॉजी ऐसा कुछ बता रहे थे, उसका मतलब भी नहीं मालूम कि ये क्या है.
अच्छा.
तो उस सेंस में मैं पूछ रहा था.
हाँ, तो
अगर माता जी को भी मालूम है तो वो कुछ हिंदी में अगर उनको
हाँ।
तो क्या है कि
ये कर सकते हैं, मैं बीच में थोड़ा रोक के मैं पूछूंगी कि कोई सवाल है इसके विषय के बारे में, तब आप पूछ सकते हैं, और ये विषय को थोड़ा ब्रीफ रखेंगे तो आगे बढ़ सकते हैं।
हाँ
मैं
बराबर।
ये जो है ना, ये अभी सिर्फ आउटलाइन चल रहा है, एक एक
हम्म,
टॉपिक के ऊपर क्या होगा आपको वो
हम्म,
बोलने से वो आपको समझ में आ जाएगा कि ये पेडागोजी क्या है, एपिस्टेमोलॉजी क्या है, आज के विषय में ही आपको पता चल जाएगा। अभी प्रेजेंटेशन जब चलेगा ना, आपको पता।
नहीं, मैं सिर्फ एक पॉइंट की नहीं बात कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन ऐसे एज ए जनरल, ये
हाँ
तो
हाँ,
सिर्फ ऐसा एग्जाम्पल था।
आप नोट डाउन करके आप पूछ सकते हैं जी। आप नोट डाउन
हम्म,
कीजिए, फिर हम
हम्म,
उसी स्लाइड को वापस आएंगे और आपका डाउट्स क्लियर करेंगे।
ओके। और सभी की ओर से आज थोड़ा सा साथ में हवन किया। हम सब अब पहली बार शुरू कर रहे हैं, तो
Wonderful. Excellent.
ओके, धन्यवाद।
Thank you.
So here, there will be group discussion and presentation. Presentation, we'll see, like, we'll see how it goes, and then we will evolve something out of it. The second module will be on Vijnana, especially bringing out the Ayurvedic perspective. So we often say, if we have to make our own children eat the food that we prepare, instead of something that's offered, outside or whatever, right? Then we need frameworks to be able to explain to them, convince them, and also help them lead a healthy life, or transform our lives as well. So we will be looking at some basics of Ayurveda through this. Again, there would be a group discussion and presentation. Bharatiya Ganita, we will be looking at the history of Bharatiya Ganita, little bit about geometry, Chanda Shastra, which is the science of poetry and metrical verses, trigonometry and how it evolved in the Bharatiya system, problem solving and computational thinking. This will also be there as to how the current generation can relate to Bharatiya Ganita and apply to solve the problems of today or tomorrow. Okay. Nakshatra Vidya will be a super interesting module on Indian astronomy. Mainly, we will be covering aspects of the Panchanga. When we say Panchanga in Tamil, we often joke, Palaya Panchangam. It means that somebody who has outdated thoughts is called a Palaya Panchangam. But you will see that this astronomy is super cool thing, which all of you will get very interested. And in fact, today I was handling a in-person teacher training program from morning 9 to 4. We had astronomy session, and I was telling them that they have their bragging quotient has increased because of having known all the mathematical concepts behind whatever happens in the sky, right? So that would be the level of enthusiasm generated as part of this. And we have module 5 on Panchakosha pathway, where we talk about the living system or the human system through the lens of the Panchakosha, because we often evaluate ourselves in terms of the degrees that we earn or the money that we have, our bank balance and all that, or we evaluate children by the grades that they get. But how do we factor in the larger, the development, holistic development, no matter how cliched the word is, the holistic development, but it still represents it's still the best possible thing that it represents. And so this Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya kosha, we will be looking at a Shastric perspective of each of these koshas, the modern science perspective, bringing insights from psychology, neuroscience, cognitive sciences, as well as how it is applicable for human development, for student development. And we will also be looking at simple questionnaires and quizzes that all of us can self-administer and understand ourselves better. So this would be until July 19th, after which different kinds of modules in terms of yoga and other things will take off. This is what initially from Anadi Foundation we would be covering. There would be different, there will also be a few more acharyas who bring out other modules. But the first module predominantly I will be interacting with you. So this is a brief outline. And Shrikant ji, may I go into the content now?
Yeah, Sure.
Anything else to be added?
Yeah. So just to add a little bit there, as you can see, the for 5 modules go all the way up to mid-July, and it is possible that we may have to adjust some of that depending upon when people want to travel. If a large part of the class is missing, then we may adjust that time. But as always, we will have recordings, so we should be able to help you keep up with the course content. Okay, so be assured that small gaps in between here and there will not disrupt your studies as far as this particular training plan is concerned. Okay, Ji, yeah, you can continue.
I'll go to my presentation. It's taking a while. So in today's session, we will be mainly going through an introduction to IKS in terms of the structure of the knowledge system. In tomorrow's session only, we'll be bringing out the history and other aspects, but I thought it's good to set the context of what IKS is. Before I go into the subject matter, maybe I can hear a few of you share what is your understanding of IKS, which happens to be an anagram for KSI. If some of you can share, what do you think is IKS? Yes, please.
Yeah, I think in my understanding, IKS is pertaining to the traditional way of imparting the knowledge, and also touch basing upon the knowledge that we have received across various angles from our Vedas and scriptures. And in that way, that so far has been producing really good results till 18th century, and which got lost later on. And we want to revisit and derive wisdom from that.
Wonderful, ji. Thank you, Rohit ji, so much. Anything else? Dinesh ji?
मुझे तो थोड़ा ही मालूम है। आपको हिंदी समझ में आती है ना? मैं से इंग्लिश बोल सकता हूँ ऐसा नहीं है, लेकिन हिंदी में ज्यादा कंफर्टेबल हूँ इसलिए पूछ रहा हूँ।
ठीक है जी, बोलिए जी।
अच्छा, थैंक यू। मुझे जो मालूम है कि ये हमारा जो नॉलेज सिस्टम जो है वो बहुत गुरु कहते हैं ना, वो परंपरा से चलता आ रहा है, मौखिक परंपरा से आगे बढ़ता रहा है। भारत के हिमालय से तो हिमालय तक से वो चल रहा है, और बहुत सारे वाइड ज्योग्राफी में भी वो फैला हुआ था। काल क्रम से वो थोड़ा थोड़ा वो होता गया, और हमारा जो ज्ञान परंपरा है वो हमारी वे ऑफ लाइफ, वे ऑफ वर्शिप और वे ऑफ थिंकिंग, उस सभी को मिलाकर हमारे ऋषि मुनियों ने निस्वार्थ भाव से हमारे लिए खड़ा किया था, ताकि हम हमारा जीवन, हमारा कुटुंब जीवन, समाज जीवन, राष्ट्र जीवन, सांस्कृतिक जीवन, ये सब भी एक इंटीग्रेटेड हो, और इंसान जो पृथ्वी पर आया है अपने कर्मों को लेकर, और वहां से वो भगवान तक पहुंच सकता है, कैसे पहुंच सकता है, उनका एक रास्ता है। तो वो इसमें हमारे जो वेद है उस सभी में बताया हुआ है, और उनके जो हम सभी को मालूम है कि 4 वेद, एक महर्षि वेदव्यास जी ने उनका व्यास किया, और सभी का अलग अलग वो है, उनकी ऋचा, ब्राह्मण ग्रंथ, ये वो सभी। तो लेकिन ये अंडरलाइन फंडामेंटली हमारे लिए है और बहुत गहरा है। हम जितना भी उसमें जाए शायद एक जन्म भी कम पड़े ये अमेरिका के लोगों के लिए। बाकी शायद भारत में तो हो सकता है कि कोई पढ़ सके। मैंने सुना है कि एक अपना जो शंकराचार्य जी का जो बैठक है मठ, उनके जो प्रधान शंकराचार्य है वो उनको चारों वेद कंठस्थ है। तो मतलब कि ये पूरा हमारा कल्चर का इतना बड़ा है कि हमारे इमेजिनेशन से भी शायद वो आगे जा सकता है। लेकिन दुख की बात यह है कि हम जो स्लेविश मेंटालिटी आ गई, अंग्रेज आ गए, अंग्रेजी आ गई, और उसके चलते चलते और कुछ पॉलिटिशियंस ने भी सब कुछ करके हमारे जो भाषा है उसको छोड़कर दूसरी भाषा को इतना ज्यादा प्राधान्य दे दिया कि हम लोग ऐसा ही समझते हैं आज के दिन में कि अगर हमें इंग्लिश नहीं आती तो हम दुनिया में ही नहीं चलेंगे। और ऐसे ही यही मेंटालिटी के साथ सब जी रहे हैं। तो ये इस सब कुछ की वजह से हमारा वो कम हो गया, विश्वास श्रद्धा कम हो गया हमारे ही शास्त्र के ऊपर।
Yes, ji. Thank you so much, Dinesh ji. As you rightly said, over a period of time, we have been some of these values and knowledge systems have been eroding for whatever reason: colonization, not support, no political support, and so many things have been happening. Thank you so much, Dinesh. If you see here, this is not an official definition. Nobody has given an official definition here. But Indian knowledge system refers to the diverse and ancient body of knowledge that has developed and preserved and transmitted in India. Of course, now it is spreading throughout the world. If you look at several books that have been written in history, historical records, they clearly show it just not just transmitted in India, but over a period of time, it has traveled all over the world. And when people ask, what did, say, Indians discover or invent or create in mathematics, people would say it is the zero. But in fact, the entire number system that we are using has been from Bharat, which then eventually transmitted to the Middle East and then eventually to Europe. So we see that a lot of our knowledge systems have been traveling throughout the world. And sometimes they come back to us in forms that we don't recognize. For example, could be cardiac coherence, breathing, or sleep, deep relaxation, and such things, right? So this IKS encompasses a wide range of disciplines, including philosophy, science, mathematics, medicine, architecture, linguistics, and spirituality. And these systems are deeply rooted in India's culture and spiritual traditions and reflect a very holistic approach to understanding the world and human experience. So when we talk about Gurukula, right, we always imagine, a Vata Vriksha, and then we imagine an old person with a dadi sitting underneath the tree who looks like a rishi. And he has a few students around him, and they are learning the Vedas. So this is a typical picturization of a Gurukulam that we have. It is right. But then what were these children learning, or what were these Vidyarthis learning? Most of us think it is only the Vedas that they learned, right? But if you see, India had been at the forefront of many of the technologies, including shipbuilding, metallurgy, woodwork, weaving, and in fact, dyeing for that matter, the color dyes, right? And India was not just known for its philosophical content or yoga, but a lot of science, mathematics, medicine, architecture was all part of whatever young people learned in these Gurukulas and Patashalas and Vidyalayams, and including Tinnai Pallikudams in Tamil Nadu, right? We will see it in tomorrow how or in one of the sessions as to how what all Professor Dharampal has recorded or accessed the British record, and what has he written in his book, The Beautiful Tree. Right? So if you look at philosophy and spirituality, we've had the various philosophical systems: Vedanta, Sankhya, Yoga, Mimamsa. We will be looking at some aspects of the Darshana Shastras as well. A lot of contribution to science and mathematics in terms of mathematics, algebra, geometry, astronomy, medicine, the entire decimal system for that matter, without which just imagine adding Roman letters, right, or Roman numbers 35 and 45. It will take ages for you to complete because you don't know. You will put an XXXV and XXXXV, and how will you add the V and V? right? Without a zero. It's impossible to do that. And very, very early, in fact, the Romans, when they used to trade, they used to bring with them something called calculators. And the calculators were not devices, but in fact, the calculators were humans. So they used to bring humans who were calculating on their behalf. But at that time, the Indian mathematicians had a very, very advanced, number system, operations. There's something called Parikarmashtakam, which you will learn as part of the mathematics sessions. Just as today, a child up to the age, say before the age of 12 or so, is supposed to know addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. The child before the age of 12 was supposed to know 8 operation, okay, ashta, 8 operations, which include addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, square, square root, cube, and cube root. And the Leelavati and all the mathematical texts have fantastic techniques to do some of this. The children at our Gurukulam learn all these operations, and now they have mastered it so that they can calculate them in a very quick manner. Okay, so you would see very, very advanced knowledge. And when we talk about IKS, it is not something which will send us back to the Stone Age. It is very, very futuristic, can solve problems of future society in terms of, say, even ecological problems, economic problems, educational problems, healthcare problems. It has a lot of potential there. Well-being, Ayurveda, and traditional systems like Siddha offer very comprehensive approach to the health and wellness. These systems emphasize the balance of the body, mind, using natural remedies, diet, lifestyle practices to promote well-being. The COVID situation is a testimony that we definitely need alternate approaches to healthcare. Of course, in India, there is always a debate, should we use the word alternate or this is the main system? But until we reach a critical mass, let us just probably, for the time being, just use it as alternate system, because probably it's easy for us, all of us, to remember at this point in time, right? And Ayurveda, if you look at it, and what the balance of the doshas, samadosha, samagnisha, samadhatu, malakriya. So it talks about the doshas should be in balance. The dhatus, all the organ systems should be in balance. The agni, which is the fire in the system, the digestive fire, that should be in balance. And the mala, the waste from all these dhatus in terms of the sweat, the urine, and everything should be excreted properly. And prasanna atmendriya manaha, the atman, the manas, and the indriyas should be in a very pleasant condition, with all the neurological pathways and everything functioning properly. And that is called good health, as defined in the Charaka Samhita. Okay, so you would see that it's a very, very holistic definition of good health. And when we look at Ayurveda as a well-being science, a lot of emphasis is there on pratyaksha, right? As a first-hand experience, how do you experience that? Suppose, say for example, I give you a spoon of protein powder, okay, and you eat it. If I ask you, like, how do you feel after that? What does protein do to you? Probably that protein powder, it takes some time to get converted to whatever it is required in the body. But suppose I say that I give you a spoon of, say, okay, a spoon is a lot, but nevertheless, let's take it, a spoon of pepper, or a spoon of, say, salt, or a spoon of, very, very sweet chocolate, right? What would happen to you? There is a pratyaksha way. Immediately, you are able to feel it, saying that if I have a spoon of chocolate, I would probably feel drowsy because it's very heavy on the system. Or if I have a small spoon of pepper, immediately my body gets heated up, the pitta increases. Or if I have a spoon of salt, again, the BP shoots up, again, pitta shoots up, right? So there is a way to decode how you feel after eating something using the frameworks of Ayurveda. So that is a very important strength of the Indian system or traditional system of medicine. Linguistics and literature, you have a huge body of knowledge in terms of grammar, philosophy, the Upanishads, the Mahabharata, Ramayana, and all the kavyas are there, right? Art and aesthetics. Indian music, dance, visual arts, deeply intertwined with spiritual and philosophical concept, rasa and bhava, are central to understanding the Indian art forms. When you look at Natya Shastra, it is not just a text of dance, it is a text of emotions, it is a text of the communication skills, and it is also a text of how to have mastery over the audience, right? When you are speaking, we often feel, I mean, nobody is listening to what I'm speaking. But how do you have command and authority over the subject, as well as have a grasp on the people who are paying attention or who are participating in your session? So all this is part of the Natya Shastra. So it is not a text which is written in isolation only about the mudras and other things which are pertaining to dance. So every text is like that. Whether it is Ayurveda, Ayurveda has so much to speak about on mental health as well, right? So whether it comes to Arthashastra, the Manusmriti talks in detail about governance, law, ethics, and social order in ancient form. So each of these things have wonderful texts written. There are larger texts in terms of the Sanskritam texts. There are also the local language texts in each of these subjects. Like each of you would know, if you belong to a particular state, there would be a lot of texts that are written in these subject areas, but in a local language. For example, in Telugu, there is a mathematical text called Pavaloru Ganitamu, which is a Telugu like Leelavati. It is in Telugu. And there is also a Tamil text, Kanakadikaram. Again, very similar to Leelavati. It is a Tamil mathematical text. So that way, every region in Bharat has been self-sufficient in terms of the knowledge system. At the same time, there has been an integration where all these knowledge systems are very much Vedic in nature, draw their insights from the Vedas, cite the Vedas, and align with the essence of the Vedas. Okay. So why do we need to go into IKS? A lot has been spoken in the other seminars that we have been doing in person, online, and all that. Why IKS is relevant in your context, that also has been highlighted very well. But the larger thing is that it brings in a holistic understanding of knowledge, cultural identity and heritage, and a lot of sustainable solutions can come out of it in terms of living, wellness, ethical governance, leadership qualities. There's so many books that are coming out on Arthashastra and leadership, Bhagavad Gita and leadership, Bhagavad Gita and management, so many Vidura Niti and leadership qualities, Bhartahari Niti and then leadership quality. Like that, so many texts are actually coming out, culling out these things. And in fact, a few weeks ago, I was part of a pedagogy event, and all of us were exploring, how do we extract insights on pedagogy from our text? What could be the various ways by which pedagogy is spoken about? There are some texts that are inherently pedagogy has been sort of consciously built into it. For example, it could be the Panchatantra, where the princes are being addressed on various aspects of managing the kingdom. But it is explicitly mentioned that this is for the benefit. This pedagogical approach is being used for the benefit of these people, right? Or it could be the aspect of the Sarpasatra, which is the beginning portion of the Mahabharata, where the big satra is happening, or the big yajna is happening, big meeting or confluence is happening of the various rishis who have gathered there in order to listen to the story of Ugra Shrava Sauti. So you would see that even storytelling as a pedagogy is there. So umpteen number of tools are there to bring these knowledge systems in a manner that is interesting, relevant, futuristic, and such things which are already part of those texts. In fact, for example, there is a text called the Tarka Sangraha, which is a philosophical text on Nyaya and Vaisheshika. The author starts by saying, Balanam Sukha Bodhaya. In order for the young people, when we say Bala, it could be child, or it could mean a beginner learner. So in order to make this learning sukha for this beginner, I'm structuring this particular knowledge this way, right? So the beauty of Indian knowledge system is that it is designed for, so when we talk about Dronacharya teaching Arjuna, Arjuna was not a 25-year-old in the Gurukula. He was a very young boy. So the knowledge of such a great Rishi being available for such a young boy, it means that the pedagogy should have been interesting and relevant and in a way that young people can learn it comfortably. So we really don't need to worry. As we proceed in the classes, you will see that you will happily, in an engaging manner, you will be able to explore some of these knowledge systems. Of course, not knowing Sanskritam will not be a barrier, but it's desirable. So that is why we also have Sanskritam as part of these, is the overall course. But in all of the sessions that we go into the sciences, we will introduce them through the verses. Okay. So one of the unique features of Indian knowledge system is that it is presented in an interconnected manner. If you start in Ayurveda, you can end up in astronomy, you can end up in mathematics. You start in astronomy, you'll explore mathematics, you'll come to Ayurveda. So basically, all of these knowledge systems somehow feel very, very connected instead of being compartmentalized as, say, physics, chemistry, biology, and all that, right? And then we learn biology, but don't know how to live well. We learn chemistry, but we don't know what kind of what is the impact of chemicals on the body. We learn physics, but then we can't make sense of reality. We learn mathematics, but can't make estimations, right? So we feel very disconnected from the knowledge system itself. And then that's why it's important we delve deeper into IKS, right? So here, when you look at this is from the, is there a hand? Actually, I'm not the synonyms for pedagogy in Sanskritam. Pedagogy in Sanskritam, I am not sure, Ji, but I'll make a note of it. I'll be happy to find out. Actually, the thing is that when I present, I'm not able to see this window. So I don't know. I'll have to, when I hear a noise, I'll probably shift to this window. So here, this is from the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So the 17th, 18th, and in fact the 14th chapter also talks about the Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Okay, Sattva is the mode of lightness and pleasantness and stability. Rajas is in terms of action, dynamism, vibrance, and aggression. Tamas is a more in terms of inertia-based approach, darkness, inertia, dullness, lethargy, and all that, right? So here, Bhagavan Sri Krishna in the 18th chapter says that the knowledge, the knower, the doer, all of this also there is a classification in terms of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. So here he says that avibhaktanam vibhakteshu. So in wherever there is even in the what you can say, even in the separation, apparent separation in the reality, if we see a interconnectedness, then that kind of a knowledge is Satvika knowledge. Okay. Understand that knowledge to be the mode of sattva by which a person sees one undivided reality within all diverse living beings. So though we might see a tree, a plant, you could see an animal or another human being, or even a water body, if you see the undivided divine thing in that as a unifying principle, then it is called Satvika Jnana. And Prithaktvena, so when you see separately things, right? You see in diverse bodies, these are present. In the modern scientific context, we learn things very, very separately. It takes us to the level of PhD to actually see the certain unifying. That's why we call it Doctor of Philosophy, so that we go deeper and eventually are able to see the unifying aspects of that particular knowledge system. Whether that really happens or not is it's debatable, but nevertheless, that's the idea. So here, if you see the Rajas, what is that? You see Nana Bhavan Prithak Vidhan. So in the diverse bodies, diverse things, you see separateness. You are unable to see that whatever divinity is in me is what is in the other person or other being. We are only able to see separate entities and the individual thought process. That is called the Rajasika Jnana. And where there is it is not grounded in reason or not based on truth, it is based on falsehood. That kind of a knowledge is tamasika knowledge. Most often, without the support of Indian knowledge systems, we end up delving deeper into knowledge systems that are rajasic in nature and tamasic in nature, without assisting us to see the interconnected principle, the what you can say, the unifying principles of these knowledge systems. So what are some of the noteworthy aspects of IKS? See, initially, some of these sessions will be like monologues, but I just want to cover some ground before we get into a conversation. That's why it's looking like it's one way. So what are some of the noteworthy aspects of IKS? You would see that every Pradesha region had a distinct knowledge system, but fundamentally connected to one another. This connection is very, very crucial, because you would see the Ramayana and Mahabharata are, things that are throughout the country. You would see that they are, present in terms of sculptures, in terms of poems and other things. Subramani ji, you have a question.
Namaste. I have a quick question or a request here.
Yes.
So you mentioned these various locations in various regions, some of these knowledges embedded in local poetry and all that. So if you have access to any one of such sources, at some time later, we can have like a quick demo, because I know in Tamil, some of these traditions, they would have these slokas. I won't say slokas, like for teaching little kids, like Yelambukku Valli, Moolaike something, Pushpi,
Yeah.
like that, right? Those kind of things as a demo, and maybe someone in this group, they can reconnect with their point of origin in Bharat. And, just a request, if that
Okay.
can be arranged.
Definitely, Ji. I'll definitely keep this in mind. It's definitely a worthwhile effort, as you say, because inherently people are from different pradeshas, where you live. So this will make a lot of sense. I'll just make a note of it and see how to, or if at least I access some videos connected to this, I'll try to pass it on. Sure.
Dhanyavad.
So each pradesha, if you see, Assam has a full weaving, unit design pattern. The Northeast collectively has certain patterns. If you look at Kashmir, people now, when I talk about Kashmir, they think of only, a conflict zone. Of course, now things have changed. But nevertheless, you would see Kashmir is known as the seat of learning, higher learning. The Sharada Peetham is there, right? And it is said that the Vidyarthis and Gurukulas in the south used to take Saptabadi towards the Kashmir as a way of paying respect to the Gurukulams over there. So like that, each region has had a tremendous amount of knowledge systems, not just practices, but as structured knowledge systems, and healthy coexistence and interdependence of these knowledge systems. When you look at Ayurveda, it takes insights from Nyaya, Vaisheshika and Sankhya. Or if you take another science, probably it's taking insights from multiple of these Darshana Shastras, right? And most of the knowledge systems were written in the form of metrical verses or poetry. Of course, oral, in the sense there is a oral way of transmitting the knowledge, but written in the sense composed, right? And not just philosophical, but rigorous scientific contributions: math, astronomy, shipbuilding, town planning, health sciences, Ayurveda, Siddha, yoga, spirituality, music, and other art forms. Very, very rigorous forms. If you take music, if you pursue music alone, it can actually engage you for a lifetime and more than that actually. So because music in terms of the raga lakshanas, in terms of singing it, in terms of the mathematics, in terms of composing your own compositions, right? So it is a full pursuit in itself that way. And the knowledge systems were suitable for both written and oral form of transmitting the knowledge, and not just the frameworks, but there are even now lived knowledge traditions. You have in the forest areas, there are a lot of tribal people. Even the Padma Shri was awarded to Lakshmi Kuti, whose tribal medicine was healed a lot of people. So like that, you have people who live the tradition. They may not know it as a framework, as a knowledge system, the way we are speaking about it. They are people who just live the tradition. Lot of people with lot of even mystical capabilities are spread throughout the country, may not be exposed to a structured form of IKS. So that way you would see that it is so rich that one cannot fit the content into any possible lecture unless and until one goes through a very strict form of Gurukula system. Under a guru you sit and then learn. For example, I knew of a Padma Shri Dr. P.R. Krishna Kumar, who is a great Ayurveda Vaidya. He said he learnt Ayurveda under his father for 20 years, and every single day for 20 years, multiple hours a day. And then he said, I only knew 20% of what my father knew. So this is a very, very rich form of learning and very, very deep form of learning. So these are some of the noteworthy aspects of IKS. And Subramani ji.
Oh, come here, I accidentally pressed. But this P.R. Krishna Kumar, is he one of the the late P.R. Krishna Kumar, ex-mainstays of Arya Vaidya Pharmacy in
Yes,
Coimbatore? That
he is the
oh,
one.
okay. Thank you, Ji.
He belongs to the Ashtavaidya family, which comes through the initiation of Bhagavad Rishi, actually.
Oh, okay. Like Vaidyaratnam moves.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I trying to sync with one of the Shishyas of, he's actually the right hand man of P. Krishna Kumar ji. His name is Acharya Vasudevan.
Okay.
Uh,
Yes.
yeah. Okay, we can connect separately on that, Ji.
So why I brought this NEP context is that not that it's directly relevant to you, but just to tell what are some of the changes, curricular changes that are happening back here in Bharat. They said Indian knowledge system has to be integrated with the school curriculum. Mathematics, astronomy, philosophy, yoga, all this has to be integrated in whatever form, in the form of video lectures, school competitions, video documentaries, and all of this, right? This is part of the new education policy or national education policy 2020. Okay. So here I would just take a 1 or 2 minute pause here if anything anybody wants to say at this point in time. Very, very briefly before I move into. Yes, Dinesh ji.
सॉरी, लेकिन इतना ज्यादा इंग्लिश डाइजेस्ट करने में डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है, तो अगर पॉसिबल है तो बीच बीच में कुछ कुछ अगर आप हिंदी बोल सके ना, तो इफ पॉसिबल.
Yes, ji. I will probably ask Kant ji to discuss with you offline on this. Yes, ji.
Namaste.
Namaste ji.
Namaste ji. My name is Dharamchand. It shows as DC, but Hindi or not Hindi, it's still a lot. So I just want to tell you that, and it's very nice to hear Hindi today. It was a pleasant surprise. But yeah, for me, I think it is a lot already, but a lot of questions I think
Yes, ji.
I've had all my life. I
Okay.
think they'll come through fruition through this course. I
Yeah.
think so. hopefully, maybe this lifetime or next. Dhanyawad.
This is just the intro session, Ji.
Yeah, still, a lot of heavyweight is still waiting to come. Rakesh ji?
Namaste, Mataji. So, are we following any particular books for this entire sessions that we will be having?
Yeah, I will message in due course of time ji, regarding that.
Okay,
Some references will be given and some pointers will also be given. We will post that soon in the Google Classroom.
Sure. Dhanyawad.
a question for reflection. I just require one or two people who have been sort of keeping quiet. I invite you to just reflect on this question and just answer briefly, not each question, but just your overall observation on this. You could talk about, I mean, you can maybe context specify it. Could be the education system where you are located, or you want to talk about globally, or you want to talk about how it's in Bharat based on your assessment of other people who study here. Anuji?
So I would go with the first question. What should be the purpose of education? I think education should be integrated with the practical application part, which is missing both in India and here. So starting from the elementary grades, if we can integrate more of practical activities and make education more practical, which will be helpful in the life, I think that would be fulfilling the purpose of education.
Wonderful, Ji. I think you've answered most of all the three questions in a very brief and very nice manner.
Dhanyavada.
Mukundji?
Yeah, to me, I think education is para and apara, knowledge of the world and the higher. I think a combination of it for the worldly well-being and also spiritual development is the key.
Excellent. Very nice. Rohitji?
I actually want to learn how I can raise my kids better, where there is not much emphasis given on the pursuit of materialistic world, grades and whatnot, because they don't define the way of comfortable life, but rather more about how they can see the overall journey to the entire life, which includes what diet they need to imbibe, what kind of gyan they need to also have alongside. I don't want the kids to go with Elsa and Anna, but rather more about the value system which help them to be a better person. I don't care if they earn thousands of crores of money, but more important is, do they know what it takes to be a better person, better daughter, better son, better husband? Because those are the things that actually brings happiness in the life, and there is no silver bullet for that. There is an ecosystem of this knowledge which is interconnected, helps them across the board to go in that direction.
Wonderful, Ji. Wonderful. Excellent. So I'll just proceed further. Whenever we talk about the purpose of anything for that matter in the Bharatiya perspective, we talk about the Purushartha. Purusha and Artha. Purusha means the individual, does not necessarily mean the male, but Purusha means the person or the individual, and Artha means goal. So what is the purpose of doing whatever I do? This is a question that has always been encouraged in our Shastras. For example, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, all talk a lot about the Purushartha. So there are the fourfold purposes: Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. And these are polysemic in the sense they take many meanings in different contexts, so cannot exactly be translated. But for a simple understanding for the class, we have a separate thing on non-translatables. So we will come to that a little later. For now, we will take the watered down translation of this so that it's relatable at the moment. Okay. So dharma is duty and righteousness, or many such things put together: moral values, ethics, larger purpose, sustainability, and what sustains whatever we do. All that is dharma. Artha is in terms of material prosperity. Kama is desire and pleasure. Moksha is, of course, the liberation. So whatever we take up, when it is based on the foundation, with dharma as the foundation, then it becomes an activity which is not just useful for us, but useful for the larger society. The larger purpose becomes very well defined. Artha, of course, means material wealth. So whether it is education, for example, what is the purpose of learning something or getting educated? You could look at, I will get a good job if I get educated, right? That means it is artha-centric. You're seeing artha as the main purpose of this particular pursuit. Kama, or I just like to be jolly. I like to go to college and be jolly. I derive pleasure out of it, right? So that it means it is karma centric. The central purpose is enjoyment or pleasure over there. Or if I say I want to learn well, knowledge is my primary duty, and through my knowledge I want to impact the society, then it means that dharma, it is a dharma centric purpose to your life. Moksha, of course, as somebody as Rohit ji was mentioning, the larger purpose is in terms, and somebody else was sharing para and apara, Mukunda ji was sharing, right? So moksha in terms of the higher knowledge, liberation from the cycle of birth and death. So whether it is IKS, learning IKS, or whether it is doing our working in our jobs, or getting higher educated, or educating our own children, if the framework of the Purushartha is applied, then it becomes very easy to look at it in a holistic manner. Instead of just saying it's for money, it's for enjoyment, but there is a larger purpose to do whatever we do, right? So the Purushartha becomes a very, very foundational framework when we have to look. Even if you take an Ayurvedic text like Ashtanga Hridayam, it would talk about in order to fulfill the Purushartha, you need a healthy body, for which the knowledge of Ayurveda is needed, right? So that way it's a very foundational work, foundational framework. Okay. So today's Vishaya is to do with when we look at Indian knowledge systems, DCG was sharing that it was a little heavy. Now I'm going to really make it, heavier. So we have the Ashtadasha Vidyasthana, or 18 knowledge systems. So there are multiple ways to categorize the Indian knowledge systems. One way is to look at it through the lens of the 6 philosophical systems. Or you can look at it as 18 knowledge systems. Or you can cut out the 4 outside ones and just keep the Veda, Vedanga, and Upaveda and call it as 14 knowledge systems. So this encompasses all of the knowledge systems that are based on the Vedas. Okay. So here, if you see Purana Nyaya Mimamsa Dharma Shastranga Mishritaha Vedaha Sthanani Vidyaya Dharmasya Cha Chaturdasha Ayurvedo Dhanurvedo Gandhavaishaiva Te Trayaha Arthashastram Chaturtham Tu Vidya Hyashtadashaivataha. Okay. So the 18 knowledge systems are as follows: Purana, Nyaya, Mimamsa, Dharma Shastra. And the Vedas, you have the 4 Vedas, you have the 6 Vedangas, and the 4 Upavedas. So this itself can be memorized as a sutra. Purana, Nyaya, Mimamsa, Dharma Shastranga Mishritaha Vedasthanani Vidyaya Dharmasya Cha Chaturdasha. Like that, you can chant it and memorize the 18 knowledge systems. You could take this up as a homework before you come to the next session. Okay. So when we talk about Ashtadasha Vidyasthana, all of these are included. This is just a description slide. Okay. The Vedas. When we look at the Vedas, you have the 4 Vedas. The Veda as such is one big body of knowledge, which was then categorized into 4 for easy learning and committing to memory by Vedavyasa Maharishi. That is why it's called Vedavyasa, who compiled and categorized and classified the Vedas. So you have the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama, and Atharva Veda, which has a lot of mantras, rituals, Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda. The Upanishads are also part of the various Vedas. And studying the Vedas, it's a rigorous training. For example, here in the Veda Patashala, back in Bharat, the children go through 6 to 7 years of rigorous Gurukula education to memorize 30,000-40,000 verses of the Vedas. Okay, and after which only they learn to decode and understand the Vedas. Initially, it is only memorizing the Vedas. Okay, so that is what happens in Vedic education. The Vedangas, if you look at it, there are 6 Vedanga, 6 Shadanga, they say 6 Angas. So the easy way to understand what a Vedanga is, suppose you have to understand a sentence. I've written down a sentence in English here, say for example, 6 auxiliary disciplines associated with the study, and I've written down, right? So if you have to read that particular sentence and make sense of it, then you need the knowledge of phonetics, right? So you need to read how to pronounce that particular word, you need to know, right? And of course, since I'm talking to an audience who lives in a different country, your pronunciation and my pronunciation will be very different, right? And then you need to understand the grammar. Only then you will make sense of this sentence. And then in some cases, you will also need to know the origin or etymology of that word. If you look at the spell bee contest, many children would ask, where is this word coming from? They will ask, where is this the root of that word, right? Only then they will be able to spell that word. Say, for example, if there is a word like psychology, or say pseudoscience, then it means it's a PSEUDO, right? So in order to derive that it's a PSEUDO, they need to know where is this word coming from. Then it would be easy for them to decode that. So the origin of the word, the etymology of the word is needed, right? And also in terms of, if it's a poem, how to, say, for example, say Shakespearean's sonnet. It has a specific way in which it is written, right? So similarly, the Vedangas, if you look at it, the student of a Veda or a Vedic student needs the support of the Vedangas in order to decode what is written in the Vedas or mentioned in the Vedas. Shiksha is the proper pronunciation of the Vedic hymns. Vyakarana is the grammar. Chandas is the tone in which it has to be chanted. Nirukta is the etymology. Where is this word derived from? For example, if you take the word sun, the sun, you can call it Ravi, you can call it Bhaskara, you can call it Aditya, you can call it Surya, and each of these words have different origins and different root words. So Nirukta, the science and etymology of the words is needed. Or the other way, if you look at the word, the root word called Vid, okay, V-I-D, Vid. The root word Vid means to know. And a person who knows is called a Vidwan. The place of knowing is called a Vidyalaya, right? And the person who wants to know is called a Vidyarthi, for whom Artha is Vidya, right? And the knowledge, what is to be known, is called Vidya. So just the root word Vid, and then you construct so many things which are connected to each other, right? Semantically connected to each other. So that science of the root word becomes important. Jyotisha is needed by a Vedic student because to calculate auspicious times, sunrise, sunset, where to set the Yajna Kunda, in which direction, which is the cardinal east, all this is needed. And hence the science of the astronomy was needed. When we say Jyotisha, it is not Phalita Jyotisha, but Ganita Jyotisha, mathematical astronomy. And Kalpa is in terms of the various guidelines that are required to perform the rituals. The Vedic student has to do a lot of rituals that is mentioned in the Kalpa. So when you look at the Vedangas, I'm just going one slide behind. When you look at this, you have the 4 Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva, Vedanga, Shiksha, Chandas, Vyakarana, Nirukta, Kalpa, and Jyotisha. In the Ganita, we will have a very detailed, session on the Chandas. Okay. So here, Shiksha is the science of phonetics and how does sound emanate, right? Just let's take a comparative thing. ABCD, right? What is the logic behind the order of ABCD?
No logic.
No logic. Very good. So, whereas if you look at the, of course, Tamil is a little different, but if you look at Sanskritam or Hindi, the way you pronounce it is in terms of ka, kha, ga, gha, nga, right? And say, for example, pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. It's all through the lips, labial sounds are produced, right? And the other ones are produced through the soft palate, through the hard palate, through the throat. So there are different regions in the throat and mouth through which the sounds are produced, and they are logically ordered one after the another, right? And when you look at ABCD, first of all, it does not have a logical order. The second one is that it is not phonetically consistent, right? Because you write A and you can call it a, or whatever it is, depending on the different words. You learn it over a period of time. Whereas if you write in Sanskritam, it's very phonetically consistent. There is only one way to write it. And another advantage with Sanskritam is that, or Devanagari for that matter, is that it is alpha syllabic, whereas where the vowels and consonants are clubbed together. So when you write, say for example, a word that is ka, if you have to write, you will write it in the same letter, or key, right? Whereas in English, if you write, you have to write K-E-E, right? So it will be 3 letters. Say my name is Ananta Lakshmi. It will take a fewer letters when you write it in Devanagari, whereas if you write it in English, it will take a lot more letters that way. So because it is not alpha syllabic, the vowel is separate, the consonant is separate when you write it down, right? So like that, there are so many things that we can comparatively talk about, say learning Bharatiya Bhasha versus English. So I fully acknowledge our Dinesh ji's thing about talking in Hindi. Only thing is that if I talk in Hindi, everybody very soon will say that please start, please continue in English, because it will not be so very comprehensible, right? So Vyakarana is grammar. Panini's Ashtadhyayi is a very important work. There are other works that people study in terms of smaller things like Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi and other things in Vyakarana. The nature of language, its relationship with thought, how to create a new word, what is the structure of the language, all that is mentioned in Vyakarana text, very, very deep text, right? And Chandas is the science of meter, how to chant a particular verse. For example, Bhagavad Gita is in Anushtup Chandas. Some verses are in Trishtup Chandas. Gayatri is a full meter. It's a Gayatri Chandas. That is why you have Guru Gayatri, you have Skanda Gayatri, you have Gayatri for various devatas. Okay? So what is Chandas? If you see, here for example, there are 2 words here, Hari and Hari. Hari is Bhagavan Vishnu, Hari is a pearl. So here it is made up of 2 sounds, Ha and Ri. When you say Hari, it is a short vowel. Both are short sounds. When you say Hari, both are long sounds. So a short sound is called a Laghu and long sound is called a Guru. Okay. So when you say Hari, it is Laghu Laghu. Hari, it is Guru Guru. Right. So here everything is separate. Pingala's Chanda Shastra is a combination of these laghus and gurus, short syllables and long syllables, in order to construct various verses in science, in philosophy, in the various aspects. Okay, so here let me give you an example. Yeah, Dama. If you see the ma, so it is laghu and guru. Neela, it is guru and laghu. Devata, it is guru, laghu and guru. Bhakti, it is guru because it is mahaprana, bha and kti, short. So it is guru and laghu. Ichha, it is guru, guru. Like that, there are some exceptions, but nevertheless, let us learn it this way. Arjunaha, Arjunaha. So it is guru, laghu and guru. So like that, there are combinations of these vowels that are taken. And suppose you are asked to produce a combination, say with 4 and 5, you would write 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 4, 5, 5. 3-digit number, there are 2 power 3 possibilities. 2 digits, you have 2 power 2 possibilities. So if I tell you write a meter with 2 syllables, guru, one laghu, or whatever it is, then there will be 2 power 2 possibilities to write that down, right? So you will have guru guru, guru laghu, laghu guru, laghu laghu. Or you will have these 2 power 3 possibilities. So they would construct poems using this combination of these syllables. So when you take Anushtup Chandas, there will be a specific sequence of gurus and laghus, and it will come within the framework of those rules. Okay. Don't worry if you have not understood. I know it's a lot, but as I said, there will be a separate session going into the Chandas, going deeply as to how exactly those syllables are created. Okay. So for now, you just know Chandas is the science of meters. Okay. Or metrical composition. Nirukta is, as I told you, it's deriving the root word, Vidyarthi, Vidyalaya, and all that, using the root word. Yaskacharya's work is very well known. Jyotisha, understanding the planets, calculations, sciences of the larger cosmic sciences. Kalpa is the rituals. Ayurveda. So now we have looked at 4 Vedas and 6 Vedangas. The Upavedas include Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, Arthashastra, and Sthapatya Veda or Gandharva Veda. Okay. So Ayurveda is the science of life. Vata, Pitta, Kapha are the the building blocks of Ayurveda, and the balance of Vata, Pitta, Kapha ensure that we have a healthy life. Okay. Charaka Samhita, Sushruta Samhita, and Ashtanga Hridayam. These are the important texts of Ayurveda. Okay. Dhanurveda is the larger martial arts and warfare, science of combat, weapons, how to make various bows and arrows, in what proportion and how far they will grow. And the larger martial arts tradition in terms of Kalaripayatus, Silambam, all these are part of the Dhanurveda system. Even now in Bharat, there are Dhanurveda Gurukulams available, and doing a lot of good work and spreading this knowledge to all people. Okay. Gandharva Veda is in terms of the music, dance, performing arts, ragas, the mathematics behind the talas. And the tala system itself is a mathematical, kind of a combinatorics kind of a thing. And it played Gandharva Veda is basically, derived, say it has led to Bharatanatyam, Kathak, Carnatic music, and so many other things, right? And classical music, all these are based on Gandharva Veda. Arthashastra is another of the knowledge systems. Arthashastra, another Upaveda, is an ancient Indian treatise on statecraft, economics, and military strategy, law, diplomacy, economic policies, talking about dharma, artha, efficient management of a city, how to plan the city, how to collect taxes, who inherits property, how to govern that, what are the leadership qualities needed, how to take care of, say, punishments, what are the nitis to be followed, samadana, veda, danda, all this is discussed in Arthashastra. Okay. So Kautilya's, Chanakya's Arthashastra is an important book. Okay. Just give me a minute. I'll just move the text a little bit so that it's readable. Okay, it's too slow. Yeah, somebody has a question. Please ask. I'm not able to see that window.
Mahodaya, it's me again, Subramani.
Yes.
So when you were explaining that Guru Laghu thing, one of the most commonly contentious words, two of them, one is yoga and another is Rama. Would you mind explaining the chandas or the meter, the matra for Rama? I think it is 3 for Rama, Guru and Laghu.
Laghu, yeah.
And yoga
is yoga. That one I'm not sure, Ji. Yeah.
Okay, Ji.
Yoga is also, is always long.
Guru, yeah, Guru Laghu, yeah.
Guru Laghu.
Yeah.
So if you say yoga or yoga.
No, it is yoga only. So it is Guru Laghu. Only thing is that in Tamil we have an additional thing like O. Right? In Hindi or Sanskritam we don't have that. In Tamil we have this O and Au. Yeah.
In Malayalam also we have that. O,
yeah.
A also.
Yeah, correct. Whereas in Sanskritam we have AI.
But to build on that same question, Shiv is also, or are both long or both short? Is it?
No, it is Shiva, short.
Shiv, right? Pronounced correctly?
No, it is Shiva.
Shiva, okay.
Yeah, I mean, there is Rama, no Rama. It's in Britishers, they add everything in and A, but it is Rama, Yoga, Shiva.
Yeah. And also it is not yoga, it is not Ram. Again, there is another, whenever we teach in Delhi,
Yeah.
we have this thing.
And actually, Sriji, just now I had a question. Somebody's doing that thing where they asked me why are they adding the A, especially in English translations. The early translators did put the A, especially to convey that the consonant has to be conveyed with the vowel, and I mean it was done with the right intent. But
Correct.
most of the speakers in the Hindi, they just cut it off and think that either the South or the English transliterations are plain wrong. Yes, the pronunciation might be a little bit stretched, but even in Hindi, it is almost all nouns are cut off without the vowel, and that's a mispronunciation.
Correct. Or rather, maybe that is the Hindi pronunciation, but when we have to pronounce the Sanskritam words, it is better to pronounce it like Sanskritam.
Yeah.
When you're talking Hindi, you could just talk it as, speak of it as Ram, Yog, and that. But when it comes to reading the Sanskritam text, it has to be, stretched a little bit, closing it.
Yeah.
Because in Tamil,
Actually,
we say Arjuna, Mahabharata, and we stretch it quite a bit.
Too much.
Yeah. Okay, so Purana. Okay, I'm just going back to the slide where we are talking about the Ashtadasa Vidyasthana. I think we have forgotten where we started. So here we have covered the Rig Yajur. Somebody is talking something? Anything?
Bagni, it looks like Deepta Rao Bagni has raised her hand.
Yes, Ji, Deepta Ji, yes.
Sorry, that was from the earlier. I forgot to turn it off.
Okay. Right. So here you have Rig Yajur Sama Atharva, Shiksha Chandas Vyakarana, Nirukta, Kalpa, and Jyotisha, Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, Arthashastra, Gandharva Veda. And now we are going to go into Purana, Nyaya, Mimamsa, and Dharma Shastra. Okay. Purana, there is something called Purana Panchalakshanam. Purana are the ancient texts talking about the not just human things, but one should understand that the nature of the Purana itself is not anthropocentric. It talks about various beings, right? And across lokas and all that. Very difficult to relate to it given the modern scientific mind, but nevertheless provide very important clues about the larger creation of this universe. The Purana Panchalakshana, the 5 Lakshanas of a Purana include Sarga, Pratisarga, Vamsha, Vamshanucharita, and Manvantara. Sarga and Pratisarga refer to the larger creations and minor creations. Larger creations in the sense, the larger cosmological events that led to the creation of the various grahas, the universe, and various celestial bodies. The Pratisarga talk about the various creations within the grahas. For example, how did the life form emerge on earth? How did Prajapati, Daksha Prajapati was there, his daughters were married to Kashyapa Prajapati, and they gave birth to Daityas, Danavas, and so many beings, right? So that is spoken of in the it's spoken of in the Pratisarga. In terms of, in the modern context, you can call it evolutionary biology. Vamsha is in terms of the various genealogy, fundamental genealogy like the Surya Vamsha and Chandra Vamsha. And the Vamshanucharita are the stories of the actual kings of various civilizations like Rama, Krishna, Yudhishthira, and the Pandavas, and so many lineages are spoken about. And the Manvantara is the cosmic scales, the ages, and the various rulers who ruled. And it also talks about the Yuga, Mahayuga, Manvantara, and Kalpa. It's not Kappa, it is Kalpa. Okay. So here every Purana has this architecture where it talks about the creation of the universe, the creation of the various beings, the creation of the various lineages, and the larger time scales in terms of what is a Yuga, Mahayuga, Manvantara, and what is the Kalpa. So here now we talk about time scales in terms of years and decades and centuries. But there we would be talking about things like 4,32,000 years and what not. Huge time scales are mentioned in the Purana. Okay. Nyaya is of Maharishi Gautama is a school of logic and epistemology that provides a structured approach to reasoning. And it is also connected to Vaisheshika, which deals with metaphysics, but Nyaya is distinct due to his emphasis on reasoning and debate. It is one of the philosophical systems as well. And what are the valid sources of knowledge? When we say epistemology, जब हम एपिस्टेमोलॉजी के बात करते हैं तो कहाँ से हमें ज्ञान मिलता है, इस दुनिया के बारे में, इस रियलिटी के बारे में हमें कैसे पता चलता है, उसको हम एपिस्टेमोलॉजी बोलते हैं. इधर प्रत्यक्ष वी कैन नो इट प्रत्यक्ष, और वी कैन मेक सम इन्फरेंसेस, और वी कैन लर्न इट थ्रू एनालॉजी, नहीं तो किसी ऋषि के आगम शब्द प्रमाण से समझ सकते हैं. सो दैट इज कॉल्ड एपिस्टेमोलॉजी. सो व्हेन व्हाट इज द valid source of knowledge, that is epistemology. So each of the philosophical system has various epistemologies or sources of knowledge. We will deal with it a little briefly because that is very important in the context of IKS. What are you learning and how are you learning that? All this become important, right? Nyaya and Mimamsa. Mimamsa is again a philosophical system. It is related to Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa. Purva Mimamsa is Jaimini, completely based on the Vedas, considering Vedas to be the ultimate authority when it comes to life, beyond life, and the larger functioning of the society as well, right? And Uttara Mimamsa is called Vedanta, and Vyasa Maharishi in terms of bringing the Brahma Sutras and everything together. So when we talk about the Vedanta, we talk about the Prasthanatrayi, Brahma Sutras, Upanishads, and Bhagavad Gita, and various acharyas of the traditions like Adi Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya. They have all brought out commentaries of these various Vedantic texts, and the Purva Mimamsa holds the Vedas as the highest authority when it comes to various aspects of life and what phala we will get by doing these various things that are mentioned in the Vedas. Okay, strict adherence to Vedas. This is the Mimamsa pathway. And Dharma Shastra, it serves as a codification of dharma, outlining ethical, legal, social duties, essential for maintaining social order, law, justice within the framework of Vedic dharma. So they were derived from the Dharma Sutras, Apastambha Sutra, Gautama, Baudhayana, and Vashishta Sutras. And you have the Manusmriti, the Yagyavalkya Smriti, all as the Dharma Shastras, which guide us to lead a life of, an ethical, moral, legally aligned, dharmically aligned life. We need the Dharma Shastras. And how to lead a life of a grihastha, how do we contribute to the society, how to lead the life of a leader, how to take care of my family, how to take care of the society. All this is codified in the Dharma Shastras. It's a vast body of knowledge. That is why we have a family acharya who at different points in time will advise us as to what to do. In the modern education, what happens? Until the school, after the school education, the students are just left high and dry to just explore, what they want to study in the future, what profession they want to take, how they want to get married, how they want to lead their life. And most people find it very difficult to understand what to do in life, right? Where is this knowledge? Who is going to tell me what to do? We might think of that as independent, but we do see the pitfalls of such a society. But then in the Dharma Shastras, in the ancient times, we had Kula gurus who would, at different points in time, please educate the child in this way, put them in this particular Gurukula, then get them married in this manner. After marriage, these are the samskaras that you need to do. For each of the samskaras, what mantras you need to chant? What are your nitya karmas? What is expected of your society, of your life? What to do after you graduate from a Gurukula? How to contribute back to the Gurukula? All this was codified and then brought forth to the Vidyarthis through the various Shastras. Dharma Shastra, Artha Shastra, Moksha Shastra, and Kama Shastra. All these were valid knowledge systems pursued at different stages of life, age appropriately, they were pursued. So when it comes to the Ashtadasha Vidyasthana, there will be more opportunities to go through this. So we will have detailed sessions on each of these. but just for you to understand the architecture is important at this point in time. You have the Veda, Vedanga, Upaveda, and the others in terms of Purana, Nyaya, Mimamsa, and the Dharma Shastras. Okay? So we will stop here, and I will take any questions or anything that you want to share. 1 or 2 more minutes, we can discuss that.
Hari Om, I have a small question.
Yes, Ji.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Hari
you.
Om. Hari Om, Ma, I'm Shivakami.
Yes.
This just now you mentioned the Mimamsa, I think, which no
Epistemology.
epistemology, which is how we get knowledge. But in the Yoga Sutra, Patanjali talks about the 5 like Pramana, Viparyaya, Vikalpa, Nidra, Smritayaha,
Vrittis.
right? So then I'm trying to relate, are we talking about the same thing? Because Patanjali in the Yoga Sutras, he tells that these are the 5, deviations or vitiations. However, when you say epistemology, it is how we gather knowledge. So then this knowledge we are talking about, is it the same quote unquote knowledge which is vitiation from our true self?
So here, when you look at the Yoga Sutra, it talks about it talks about Pramana Viparyaya Vikalpa Nidra Svatayaha as the 5 vrittis, and which he says that these are the various modifications of the mind which occur to you in the non-yogic state or to a non-yogi. And then he goes on to define what is Pramana. He says Pratyakshanumana Pramanani. So that Pramana is what we are talking about, the source of knowledge or epistemology. So how do you
this Pratyaksha Pramana?
How do you get right knowledge? There are 3 ways according to 3 sources according to yoga. It is Pratyaksha, direct cognition. I see a water bottle with my eyes, I know it's a water bottle, right? But then there is also Anumana. I draw an inference. I hear a sound there, then I know, okay, somebody is ringing the bell, there's somebody at the door. I'm not able to see the person, but I'm hearing some noise. I make an inference that that person has come or some person has come. Okay?
Yes.
Or Agama, it is the Vakya of the Rishis. I don't have any way to infer or I cannot perceive it directly. I can only listen to somebody and then take the knowledge from there. That is Agama.
Like
So
trust the word.
if you look at the other philosophical systems, so yoga takes these 3 pramanas, Pratyaksha, Anumana, and Agama. Whereas if you take Nyaya philosophical system, it has 4 pramanas. Pratyaksha, Anumana, same. It also talks about Upamana, knowing through analogy or comparison. Okay, so to compare this is say white, this is brown, something like that. In relative, I'm learning the colors, or I'm learning which is light and which is dark. Okay, so comparison, I am learning this, which is hot, which is cold, which is tall, which is right. And the pramana, he says, it is in terms of Shabda Pramana, again through the words of the rishis. Again, now Vedanta philosophical system has 6 pramanas: Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Agama, Arthapati, and Anupalabdhi. Okay, Arthapati is postulation, making an assumption. Ye ho sakta hai, this could be like this, making an assumption. And Anupalabdhi is cognizing or perceiving the non-existence of something. Okay, cognizing the absence. That is also a source of knowing something. I am knowing something through its absence. So that is also a way of knowing. So these are the 6 what do you say, pramanas, or various sources of knowledge.
Thank you, Ma. Dhanyavada.
Okay, I have a question. So I got the link from somebody, I think Darshan. I don't know if he's in the call. So thanks for sharing that. Are you guys going to set up some sort of a WhatsApp group or some sort of email alias? Like, how do you know about the record links and the future sessions and whatnot?
So once you have registered, we will send you a message with the invitation to join a Google Classroom, and that will include all the materials, discussion boards, announcements, and you'll be up to date on the class information.
So right now I do not even had the first link. So this will, like, you already have somebody who can forward this to me or something? The invitation? Or
Darshanji,
registration?
Darshanji will help with that. Yeah.
Sure,
Okay,
sure.
okay, sounds good. Yeah, thanks.
I'll talk with you.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, Prasadji.
Namaste, Matashri. Can you give me any reference, like, Gandharva Veda, right? Like, is there any books or any further reference? I think you are on mute.
Smriti ji, you're on mute.
So if you look at it, the Sangeeta Ratnakara is a good book on Sangeetam, Natya Shastra by Bharata Muni. That is also there. So there are like that texts which overall together form the Gandharva Veda tradition.
Darshanji.
Smriti, I had one question. You mentioned that we, apart from all these knowledge systems and Sanskrit things which have been written in Sanskrit, there are quite a bit of knowledge which is distributed in local languages. So, do we have some kind of place or kind of system where we are storing this information, and which languages has which specific information? Those kind of things.
As of now, I don't know any repository that is giving local knowledge, but I can look it up. I haven't come across anything that talks about in each region what is the equivalent text for this. I haven't come across such a repository, but I can ask around.
Yeah, I mean, we are currently in the process of going through all this, so probably I can understand that. Probably
Yeah, correct.
Mahodaya, I have a question.
Yes,
I
sir.
will just defer to Sivakami ji. I think she had a question.
Okay. Sivakami ji?
Oh, no. I put down my hand.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Actually, my question was just about what depth we'll go into, but I figured let us just go through the sessions and we'll learn then. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Modi ji?
So my question was, out of these IKS, Upavedas and all that you mentioned, how many of those available? Like you have like a paddhati, like a guru or a sampradaya that is safeguarding those systems. Because most of the time, the most commonly available sources are either Vedic, Vedanta based things, or some yoga also, and some Natya Shastra is also there, I believe. But what about, say, Niti Shastra, Vaisheshika, and some of the other, like say you mentioned Dhanur Veda, right? So if you know of some places, like today, if I want to go learn yoga, I can take my backpack, go to Rishikesh, Mysore, and there is some path available, right? So like that for Dhanur Veda and some of the new ones, like basically where yoga was 30 years ago, these things may be in the same situation. Like if one wants to learn, if you have any, and some may be extinct, probably. Like we don't know. I wouldn't say extinct because sometimes we just find out things like this Rigveda Shakha that existed in Rajasthan.
Correct.
Like one of
Yeah.
the Shankaracharyas, I think, of Kanchi, they found it.
Yeah.
One family was preserving it. They did not even know what Shakha or something they were doing, but it got found out, right? So like that, we don't know what we don't know, right? But whatever we do know, what we have heard, there is someone in this place, one person who is teaching this Vidya. If you have any, that would be great. Like basically, I'm looking for popular versus danger, risk of extinction kind of Vidyas.
Correct, Ji. Correct. Very true. For example, of late, I'm hearing a lot about, Dhanurveda schools. So I've shared one such group, International Society of Dhanurveda, and some Dhanurvidya, places one can learn. Kalari, of course, is gaining a lot of importance right now. But as you say, Vaisheshika, I've met a few people who have done their PhD in some aspects of Vaisheshika, but not really sure, how much of it is available, so much popular. But then music and dance as art forms have been preserved. But in terms of Natya Shastra, a lot of people I know have done some good research in Natya Shastra, bringing out some elements. But as you say, just like yoga or Vedanta, we don't have a widespread uh, availability of some of these knowledge systems. Like Artha Shastra, very good translations I've heard, but then not only in the modern context, a few people have taken it and then said leadership principles and all that. But the core Artha Shastra as a translation, as a Guru Sishya Parampara, I don't think it's happening.
Dhanyavad. I have a side question related to this. So all these IKS systems, like how many of them are, I would like to think they are all interconnected, but there are some groups. I have some overzealous friends from Tamil Nadu, especially, who would say like we have Saivam, we don't have Veda, right? And if I tell them that I don't know, I think all Saivam came from Kashmiri Saivism, or the Siddhars of Tamil Nadu, they may be different, or they may have, there must be a parallel tradition. So within that context, like whatever we are covering in IKS, how much interconnectedness or distinctiveness do we call that out when we uh, come across those systems?
So here, predominantly, we would be covering Sanskrit-based knowledge systems. But when it comes to the Tamil landscape, there is a lot of this confusion that is happening here, trying to separate it from the larger Vedic system. But a reading of Tamil Siddha, Saiva texts like Tirumandiram and all will prove that a lot of insights are drawn from the Vedas. So that Nangu Marai or 4 Vedas are spoken time and again about in many of the Siddha texts. Is that nobody reads the Siddha text, nobody reads the Vedas. So conveniently, we leave them out. And of course, nobody has the time also practically to go into any depth of these knowledge systems. So anyway, that larger unity has to be brought forth. That is why efforts like Kashi Tamil Sangamam are happening, where Tamil and the larger Kashi system are being looked at. We are also part of that initiative. Recently we did a conference on Agastya Maharishi, talking about how Agastya Maharishi stands as a unifying force in terms of grammar, healthcare system, the larger arts in Tamil Nadu and all that, including the martial arts. So Agastya Maharishi is now being looked at seriously as an integrator of these knowledge systems. But yes, of course, there is this separatist thought process at different levels.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we are going to do right now, Smritiji, thank you so much for staying and answering all these questions. It was a wonderful, wonderful session. I do want to I have noted down all the questions that are yet to be answered, Bhanini. And, we will take that offline because it is, way past our time. So I want to take only 2 minutes and share my screen very quickly. And I think this will be helpful. And Smriti ji can talk to this as well. Can you all see my screen yet, or? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
So for those that have registered and the payments been made and so on, we have gone ahead and added your email addresses to this Google Classroom. Okay, you can find the students list here. It's taking a bit of time. Yeah, so this is the list of students and so on. Some of you have accepted the invite and some of you haven't. For those that haven't, please go check the email address that you provided during your registration, and we will immediately you'll be able to access this classroom. The good thing about this classroom is, of course, we'll be making the announcements and everything here. The class work, including all the questions that were posted, the highlights and so on, we will add it here. The slides, the recording, links to the recording, especially today's classes recording, we'll have that here. We may open up some discussion groups so you can exchange information amongst yourselves. And if there are any questions that come out of that, we'll try and answer those in the next class, next Saturday, Feb 8th. Okay, so please, as soon as possible, get registered and get added. Okay. And then, yeah, some of the questions that have not been answered or the salient points from today, I have made some notes on the side and I'll add those to the page as well. So you can go and refer to that. All right.
You may have to check the spam folder or updates folder in case you haven't received the Google Classroom invite in your inbox.
Yeah. Okay. With that, what we'll do is we will end today's session. Everyone, thank you for staying past. Really appreciate you all coming, showing interest, and registering for this. It's a long commitment, but I think we will have a wonderful journey along this path. As you may have seen, we have so much to cover, and Smriti ji is a wonderful repository of information here. So yeah, let's it's a great embarkation today, and let's keep this going. Okay, meet you all on Feb 8th at 7 a.m. Central. In the meanwhile, please watch out for announcements and emails. If you have not accepted the invitation to the classroom, please do so as soon as possible. Okay, thank you everyone. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Namaste everyone.
Namaste.
Bye. Wonderful,
Dhanyavad.
wonderful evening.
Dhanyavad.
Dhanyavad.
Dhanyavad.